Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, both published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today, we're going to be reviewing Robert McCammon's Speaks the Nightbird, book number 1 in his Matthew Corbett mystery series. We always review the covers first because I love graphic design and illustration. I think this cover is great, sets the mood for what's going on. This is a pre-colonial, pre-Revolutionary War novel set in Carolinas, pre-Revolutionary War, set in about 1699. So it kind of got that nice feel to it. Looks old and gothic with the nice typeface and everything. Good job on the cover design. Publishers. Now, you know, I name drop like a... And this just is. If I meet my favorite authors and they sign my books, I show it off. And I have met Robert McCammon several times. Most notably, I met him at the Salt Lake City, the World Horror Convention that was in Salt Lake City. And he signed my entire collection of books. Which, by the way, we can show you. I've got every Robert McCammon book. You know, we've got some paperbacks there. Then we've got all of them up there. The whole collection. I got everything he's done. And I'd say like 80% of that collection is signed by the main man himself. Just saying, if you get a chance to meet your favorite authors, do so and get your book signed. I've mentioned several times in a lot of videos, especially like my top 10 favorite authors video, that Robert McCammon finished in the top 5 of my favorite writers of all time. He's just a great writer. Not only that, but I used to run all 6 libraries at the Utah State Prison. And I'll tell you, the most stolen book out of those libraries was Swan Song by Robert McCammon. I could not keep enough Robert McCammon Swan Song copies in my libraries. The inmates just stole them as soon as they showed up. The second most stolen books out of the library were actually Bernard Cornwell's Saxon Tales, you know. Anyway, that's beside the point. Let's get to the book review. This book, you know, Robert McCammon took a pretty lengthy sabbatical from writing in the 1990s. And then in 2002, he came out with Speaks the Nightbird. And man, the book was dope. You know, I was a huge fan of Robert McCammon, and I went so many years without a new Robert McCammon book. And then I saw this one when it came out, and I bought it, and I gobbled it up when it first came out. Man, and this thing is dope. I loved everything about this book. And for you writers out there, some of you people watch my video book reviews for a little writing advice here and there, and this is what I got to tell you. Like I said, Robert McCammon is one of my top 5 favorite writers in the world, and just the first few chapters of this book are a masterclass in how to set a scene, and how to set a mood, and how to get your story rolling with intrigue and mystery, and how to introduce characters that people love. Just within the first few chapters, pay particular attention to how Robert McCammon describes the 2 characters that are sort of going through these woods on this journey. And just pay attention to the way he describes them, the way he describes the scenery that they're passing through, and the way he describes the inn that they come to once they reach that inn. It is brilliant. It is absolutely spot on brilliant. And you can just study those 2 chapters and learn so much on how to set a scene, and how to get your readers hooked, and how to get your readers to understand exactly every single thing that's going on in the story and have a clear, crystal clear picture of it. I write big books too, and once in a while I read stuff by Robert McCammon and I'm just like, the dude's better than me. I just quit. I should just quit. I should just throw my bullshit crap away and give up, because this dude and the dialogue, Larry McMurtry and Robert McCammon if I could write dialogue like these guys, Larry McMurtry did Lonesome Dove, for those of you who don't know, but one of the most brilliant novels of all time. And the dialogue that they put in these, the dialogue they give their characters, it speaks to the place and time that they are at. I mean, we are talking 1699 is when this book is set. And everything that's said sounds like it's coming from somebody that lives in that era. And that's just dynamite to pull that off and do it so well, and so that the reader doesn't even really notice it. It's not clunky. It's just, writers, for those of you looking for writing advice, pick this book up and just do a in-depth study of the first few chapters if you just want to see how to get a story off the ground and people interested in what's happening. Just pay attention to the writing, folks. Pay attention, especially the characters, because these characters are great. Our main man, Matthew Corbett, and his buddy, Woodward, are out on a journey, and they come to an inn. As soon as they get to the inn, weird, creepy things start being said and done, and stories are related to them that they are like scratching their heads like, what sort of, weird, sleepy, hollow, supernatural hell have we stumbled into, right? And that's kind of what happens. And they find out that people are believing that there's monsters and demons and creatures in the woods, and that there's a witch, and that she's probably the cause of everything bad in their lives. And this witch's name is Rachel. And, some of the scenes with Rachel and Matthew Corbett, the young guy, some of those scenes are just so well drawn. And not only that, but when Rachel is being accused of being a witch, and when she's being interrogated and being tried as being a witch, back in the day, people didn't understand a lot of the natural phenomena that went on around them. That's why we have places like, Salem and the Salem witch trials, and because, weird stuff would happen out in the wilderness, and people would just say there's a witch, right? And so they're seeing demons. They think that they're seeing these weird sort of sex orgies with demons and women out in the woods, and they're attributing it to this witch. And it's like there's demons and dwarves and very pagan, like sacrificial, like stuff going on out in the woods, and it's the witch's fault, right? Let's blame the witch. So, but Matthew Corbett and his buddy are there, and and Matthew kind of was like, I don't know if she's a witch, but she's kind of hot. She's cute. I like her. He starts to have feelings for her, and so of course he wants to defend her against, because the people, they want to kill her. You know how it is. So the best description, and I don't want to give away too much more than that, I just want to gush about what an awesome author Robert McCammon is, and all that. And if you followed my channel this far, you know that I've mentioned in a lot of videos that I used to run the prison libraries at the Utah State Prison, and I did it for many years, and the most stolen book out of those libraries was Robert McCammon's Swan Song. And I just couldn't keep enough of them in. And maybe I already mentioned that at the beginning of this video, but maybe I forgot. I don't know. But the guy writes great, and I just want to I'll just read the back. We'll end with me just reading the back copy, so you kind of get a better picture of what's going on here. So the Carolinas, 1699. The citizens of Fount Royal believe a witch has cursed their town with inexplicable tragedies, and they demand that the beautiful widow Rachel Howarth be tried and executed for witchcraft. Presiding over the trial is traveling magistrate Isaac Woodward, aided by his astute young clerk Matthew Corbett. Believing in Rachel's innocence, Matthew will soon confront the true evil at work in Fount Royal. But after hearing damning testimony, Magistrate Woodward sentences the accused witch to death by burning. Desperate to exonerate the woman he has come to love, Matthew begins his own investigation. Among the townspeople, piecing together the truth, he has no choice but to vanquish a force more malevolent than witchcraft in order to save his beloved Rachel. So it's kind of a love story / gothic novel with a lot of horror elements in it. And man, it's beautifully written on top of that. How can you go wrong? How can you go wrong? I give Speaks the Nightbird very enthusiastic 10 out of 10. And this is, like I said, this is book number 1 in the Matthew Corbett series. And if we look up there, I think there's eight books total in the series, and book number 9 is coming out this fall, I believe. Anyway, 10 out of 10, man. Everything McCammon writes is just dynamite. There's no other way to put it.